Hi, I'm Tim. Welcome to Watchbox, and thanks for logging on. If you love this watch, email me, tmosso@thewatchbox.com. It's in the description below. Your purchase and pricing email question line for buying this or any watch you see on any Watchbox platform. Please reach out to me directly for pricing. Email tmosso@thewatchbox.com. Launched in 2015, this is the black ceramic Omega Speedmaster Moonwatch Dark Side of the Moon Vintage Black. The Dark Side of the Moon came out in 2013. The gray side followed a year later. And then in 2015, the Side of the Moon collection became a ceramic family of watches, including several different options, including this, the vintage-inspired Vintage Black. So the timepiece is 44.25 millimeters in diameter, 16.9 millimeters thick, and from lug tip to lug tip, a relatively short 49.7 millimeters. That is short for the size of the watch, with a 21 millimeter spacing between the lugs. We'll throw it on my wrist, which is 16 centimeters in circumference, and I should mention it's a very light watch. Sapphire and ceramic comprise almost all of the case, and those are very diffuse, lightweight materials, so it sits lightly for a big watch. It doesn't feel like a heavy hunk. It is too thick for most cuffs. You can see that there's also a cantilever to the bezel that'll make it tough to slide underneath a dress shirt that's very tight. Now, the watch is relatively short from lug to lug, so I can recommend it, in spite of its size, for a wrist as small as 15 centimeters in circumference. There you can see from the top. Taking a quick look at the strap. Again, vintage is the theme, which is why we have this sort of rustic, minimally tanned, somewhat weathered look to the strap. It is a new strap from Omega. As you can see, the gusset has no gouging. The strap has no crimping. There's a contrasting stitch on the bottom. It's black calfskin on the bottom, brown calfskin with a vintage aged strap on the top. And then we get a buckle that has a ceramic cap. So the actual cap here is ceramic. On a lot of ceramic watches, you'll get some sort of black DLC-coated titanium or steel. Hublot's infamous for this. And so the buckle will scratch, even though the case itself is almost scratch-proof. Here, you get a ceramic buckle. So when this is on the underside of your wrist as you're wearing it, you can work with me here. Imagine this is on your wrist, and you're moving your hand across your desk. The ceramic is going to protect the clasp from scratching. Now, internally, it is made of metal. It is titanium, it is blackened, but this component will not come in contact with external abrasives. You tuck the strap in, just like this, you buckle it down, you fix it in place, and then the excess length hides underneath the strap, so there's no need for minder loops. And of course, it is a twin trigger release, so it opens only when you disengage by pressing both triggers, so you have security. This is the so-called lyre-style lug case that we've known since the early 60s on Speedmasters and Seamasters. So we have an inward bevel and an outward bevel. Everything is satinated. There is no polish here, no gloss, no gleam. Again, weathered and vintage is the driving thought, the controlling idea. We have this asymmetrical profile with shear guards for the crown and the pushers that we've had since 1964 on Speedmaster Professionals. And while this is not a Speedmaster Professional, it does have the profile of the famous Moonwatch, which is why this is a Moonwatch, but not a professional. Taking a quick look, you can see that the dial is a matte finish. This is actually done with laser ablation. It's a ceramic dial, but normally these ceramic dials are polished. Well, this one has a matte finish, and that's done by lightly glazing with a laser to remove the bright shine of the standard dark side of the moon. You can also see that the indices as well as the hands are blackened and satinated to resist glare once again. Everything glows, and I do mean everything. The tachometer glows, even the insert in the crown glows, and then we've got a loomed chronograph seconds hand, which is quite handy. The tachometer can be used for gauging speed. That's what a tachometer is for. Now, the watch has a twin register dial to give it a vintage look and a cleaner aesthetic, but you can see that it is a tri-register chronograph with chronograph seconds at center and then superimposed chronograph minutes and hours at 3 o'clock. The watch also includes little dishes for the sub-registers, a sunken monotone date disc at 6 o'clock. All the indices are appliques, so this is an upscale dial. We have a time zone feature that allows me to move the hour hand even as timekeeping, including chronograph timekeeping, continues. And depending on whether I'm traveling east or west, I can actually move the date disc in either direction. Now, when I pull the crown out all the way, I engage stop seconds. Now everything halts, and I can synchronize the watch to a reference time. Flip it all over. You can see there is a large domed sapphire on the case back. This is part of the Dark Side of the Moon family. The watch is 50 meters water resistant. You can see that conversion right there. SI14 letting you know that there's a silicon hairspring at play. And this is caliber 9300. It's a coaxial chronometer, so it's a COSC certified Swiss chronometer, and it has George Daniels' famous direct and indirect impulse, tangential contact, coaxial escapement, which impulses the balance to create a beat rate of 25,200, which I used to say was coaxial specific, but it turns out that swatch group-wise, it is a silicon hairspring beat rate, which is why within swatch group you will see this on watches as diverse as Omega and Mido, that 25,200 vibration per hour beat rate. Twin mainspring barrels, 60-hour power reserve. Twin barrels means that you don't get the big balance amplitude drop-off after 24 hours that you get on a single barrel movement, like say a Rolex 3235. We also have a full balance bridge with a free-sprung balance for shock tolerance. We have a winding rotor bearing rather than a jeweled staff for the same reason. We have a black polished invisible column wheel, so as you cycle the chronograph, you can feel and hear a sharp click. Column wheel is traditional. It's expected in a high-end chronograph. We also have a vertical clutch. Now, the vertical clutch ensures that when I start the chrono, there's no jump. So it's a very clean, precise, and seamless system. Also, because of the vertical clutch, I can leave it engaged full-time without any additional wear and tear to the movement. So if you like your chronograph on full-time for center seconds, you can absolutely do that, no hazard to the watch. We have both polished and blackened screws, mirrored bevels that are mechanically executed, and then we have a set of arabesque Côte de Genève spirals across the bridges. So it's machine finished, but handsomely machine finished. Reach out to Team Mosso at thewatchbox.com for purchase and pricing details.